Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Sunday. My name's Anthony. If you're returning, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And if this is your first time watching, thank you also for giving me a shot. Can I ask you to just go ahead and hit that subscribe button down in the corner? I am going through the hit HBO series, The Sopranos, and I'm cooking all the dishes that are in the show. Well, I say that, but today's a bit of an exception. There's two Soprano-based cookbooks. One is the Soprano Family Cookbook, composed by Artie Bucco, and the other is Entertaining with the Sopranos, composed by Carmela Soprano. Today's recipe comes from Entertaining with the Sopranos. We're doing Veal Rollatini. I know in my intro I just said I'm doing every dish in the show, and today's dish is based off of episode 3. Carmela holds a fundraiser at the family house. At one point, Carmela asks fellow guests,
Going okay though, I think, don't you think? Oh, do you like the food?
Who knows? I was so busy schmoozing, I barely had a bite.
No, you are not gonna miss those little Veal Tonnatas.
Now the great irony is that's exactly what we're doing. We're totally skipping the Veal Tonnatas. I've never made the dish. It's essentially veal with a tuna sauce. Now I don't do seafood, and every time we do seafood in this show, it's always gonna be with my friend Chrissy or Andrew or some other guest cook. I couldn't find anybody who wanted to mix a tuna sauce with veal. We're just gonna skip it. We're gonna fill it into place with another veal recipe in its place. So Veal Rollatini. If you tuned in 2 weeks ago to my brachiole episode, it's essentially the same thing. If you haven't watched the brachiole episode, the link is in the description. Go ahead and watch it after this one. Or if you wanna pause and go to that one and then come back, that's cool too. I don't mind. So the recipe calls for veal scallopini, which is essentially just thin cuts of veal and ground pork. I'm a big, huge fan of pork. The book does specify lean pork. Eddie, I'm sorry, my guy Eddie over at Woody's Butcher Block, we were talking about it and I was like, oh, I don't think it matters. Go ahead and give me the fatty stuff. I'm sure it's fine. And then I get home and I check the book and it actually specifies lean pork sausage, but whatever, this is what I have and we're using it. Finely chopped garlic, finely chopped fresh rosemary, 28 ounces of peeled tomatoes, chopped, salt, pepper, olive oil, frozen peas. Frozen peas works totally fine, just make sure that they're mostly thawed, and a cup of dry white wine. Here's a rule about cooking with wine. I know if you've watched my show before, you know I cook with wine all the time, but it doesn't always end up in the food. The white wine that you use should be dry. You want to go with a Sauvignon Blanc or a Pinot Grigio. This, I went with a local vineyard, local to my area, the Central Coast of California. I am lucky enough to live in one of California's great wine countries. If you've ever watched the movie Sideways, basically the whole movie was filmed an hour from my house. This bottle is from Doozy. It's a Pinot Grigio. Doozy's not paying me. The reason why I'm shouting them out is because I know the quality of their grapes. A friend of my dad's is a home winemaker, and he gets his grapes from Doozy Vineyards, and his wine always turns out great. They're a trusted name for me. Now, a simple rule to follow when you're cooking with wine is don't use a wine that you're not willing to drink. Don't buy a wine thinking, oh, it's not drinkable, but I can at least cook with it. No, you should always be willing to drink it. Now that's good as far as Pinot Grigios go. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a Pinot Grigio guy. For those who don't really know about wine, just because it's a white wine doesn't mean that it's sweeter. There can be sweeter reds than the white wine that you're drinking. Now, for the wine that I'm actually gonna be drinking while I'm cooking, I shouted out the Doozy, so I might as well shout out my beloved San Antonio winery. This is their Imperial Red. It's a really sweet taste. I have a very, very big sweet tooth. Anyways, moving on. While I'm standing here, this is a bonus tip. You'll notice I'm holding these two glasses differently. The average standard wine glass is made for a very precise reason. The long stem and then the bulb. The reason being, you can pour either a white or a red wine into any average wine glass. White wines you usually want to hold by the stem because your body heat will actually warm up the wine. And most white wines you want to have served chilled, hence holding from the stem. Most red wines, however, you actually want at temperature. I always hold the red wine like this from the actual bulb itself because that allows my body heat to warm up the wine. It doesn't matter if it's served at chilled temperature or not. Now, if you like yours chilled, that's your personal taste. You do you, live your life, but I'm just telling you the way it's supposed to be, all right? Moving on. First step is take the ground pork and toss in both the garlic and the rosemary. Now the recipe book called for 1 clove of garlic. I put in 3 because I love me some garlic. I also put in more rosemary than was needed. We're just gonna blend this up. I've said this multiple times. Whenever possible, get your hands in there. Your clean, washed hands, mind you. There's just something really great about getting your hands involved, and you're not using a machine or a tool or something like that. Like, it makes cooking really hands-on, makes it fun, makes it really real that, hey, I made this. Now the book says that this recipe is supposed to serve 12, based on the fact that you're supposed to get 24 scallopini and, you know, serve 2 to each person. I, however, only got 6 scallopini, and I'm just gonna make them bigger. Remember, with a recipe is just a suggestion. Change it however you want. Have fun with it. I'm adding more garlic, I'm adding more rosemary. Oh, I'm also forgetting to add the salt and pepper, but my hands are all porky, so I'm gonna wash them before I handle my salt and pepper shakers. And you just add in the amount for flavor. I want a lot of pepper. By the way, I don't normally film on the weekdays, so I just got home from work, and I feel like my hair's a mess. Just, you know, give me some grace and mercy, all right? Throw in as much salt and pepper as you want for your own personal taste. If you want to throw some other stuff, like some oregano or maybe some Italian seasoning, go for it. This is your recipe. Flavor it the way you want to eat it, all right? Now at this point, normally you would go ahead and make 24 sausage shapes, about 3 inches long, something about close to that size. Veal comes up quite often in the Sopranos and in the 2 cookbooks that I'm using. It's not really as popular as it used to be. My generation's not into the whole eating a baby cow thing. If you personally have qualms with that, I can respect that, that's fine. Either A, use another cut of beef, or just move on to another episode. I still got some pork left over, that's gonna go with some scrambled eggs later. Okay, go ahead and salt and pepper the veal. At this point, go ahead and take your little hand-shaped sausage. As the name suggests, rollatini it in here. Yeah, that's right, I said it. I would suggest having toothpicks on standby, ready to go, because you're totally gonna need them. There's 1 done. And I got out more than just 6 toothpicks because I figured, you know, I might need to do 1 on each side. If you have a toothpick that's kind of looking splintery, don't use that one. That will end up in your food. There we go. 6 rollatini. Okay, heat up your pan to medium heat. Get the olive oil ready. And I've got the wine and the tomatoes here on standby. Olive oil. There's more olive oil in this pan than needs to be. I'm gonna use these, but here's what I'm worried about. These are metal. I'm using a non-stick pan, so be really careful while you're doing this. Try to go to the store and get the kind that has the rubber tips. And we're basically looking to sear them all. Now you can see it, but the sausage is starting to come out on some of them. All right, 10 minutes has gone by and they're all pretty much brown. But man, the sausage is like blowing some of them up. This one guy kind of looks like me in a shirt from last year. It's a little close, a little stretchy. I'm gonna bring the heat down just a bit. I had a plate here. Oh, here it is. So we take the rollatini, put them on a plate for a second. This step kind of seems weird, but I'm just following the book. So now we pour in the white wine. And switch over to one of these and make sure you scrape the bottom, it's specified. And we do this for a minute. Back up to medium. Now, time to add the tomatoes. Be careful with it. And add some more salt. And now we return the rolls back to their home in the pan. Partially cover it. kitchen timer, 20 minutes. Wash your dishes, drink some wine. You got some time to kill. You could watch half an episode of The Sopranos. Actually, in the amount of time that there is, you could start episode 3 of The Sopranos, and right about the time that it gets to where Carmela mentions the Veal Tonnatas, check on the veal. Look at this gloriousness. Now, without cutting into and checking on all the sausage, I can only pretty much hope that they're all cooking in there. But they're stewing in this tomato wine mixture. And it smells amazing. I know that doesn't help you watching through a screen. But now, those thawed peas that we mentioned earlier, we're gonna add them in here at the last second. And continue to simmer for another 5 minutes. Almost out of my wine here. But I got most of the dishes done, so anyways. So we let it simmer for 20 minutes. Throw in the peas. They've been cooking for about 5 minutes now. Oh, that smells so good. So we take them out and then take some of the sauce, pour it on top. I always forget to get the fork and knife out. Do not forget to take out the toothpicks. Kind of a key and crucial step. My real concern, if I have a concern right now, is was that enough time to cook cook through the sausage? And it looks like it was cooked all the way through. All right, now for my favorite part of every episode, besides when I first open up the bottle of wine, of course. Oh yeah, it's still really hot though because I did just pull it out. Oh, let's just turn that off. I would say the only thing better than pork, I'm like Guy Fieri again, talking about my mouth full. Only thing better than pork is pork wrapped in bacon. But pork wrapped in veal is a close second place. This is so good. Anyways, I made some adjustments to the recipe. You guys should too. Make it your own dish. Cook to your own taste, to your taste of your guests. Maybe someday I'll come back around and do Veal Tonnatas, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. Anyways, have a great week. Manja.